Today we're going to slow stitch some small jewelry pieces. Ciao, dear hearts. Hey, thanks for coming back to the studio. Don and I are so happy to see you, and we want to introduce ourselves. Some of you are new. I know we've had lots of new subscriptions. So my name is Caterina. All my friends call me Cat. The wonderful guy behind the camera is my husband, Don Digison, and we're so happy that you're here. We're so grateful to you for all of your wonderful subscriptions, your shares, your thumbs up, your wonderful comments, and all your likes. We thank you so much. Thanks also for using all of our recommended Amazon links and for using our links. That's awesome. We really appreciate that. And the last thing I want to thank you for is for our tip jar, and also for using for purchasing my work in the gallery, 142 Bis Gallery. We so appreciate your support. It means so much to us. So thanks a lot. And today we're going to be making some small jewelry pieces. So in 2007, I had a jewelry line. I was also doing, it was a mixed media jewelry line. I was also doing mixed media and doing mixed media shows, but it was like a sideline jewelry business that I had. And it was, they were pieces made with intention. And by that, I mean a lot of them were about unconditional love. And these are just a couple of pictures of some of the pieces that I made. And I thought we would revisit this, and since we're doing slow stitching, because that's what this is all about, it's very slow stitching. It's using up bits and scraps and pieces, and I know how you love doing that. So here's a piece that I wanted to share with you. This is a Sacred Heart, or not a Sacred Heart, but this is a heart milagro on here. And for those of you that don't know what a milagro is, it's basically a charm, a religious charm. And this is, for me, the intention of this was unconditional love. And so it's mixed media because this is hand-dyed cloth. Some of my dyed fabrics from, I think this was a beet cloth, and then it's stitched. The paper underneath the charm is document paper, which is an antique bit of document paper, and then I stitched around it, and I just used thread. I use thread for these pieces. Now you can use embroidery floss if you want to. It's totally up to you. But I quite like the chain and the little safety pin. And today we're just going to elevate the safety pin, because you have a million of them. You have lots of safety pins, right? And so you don't have to go buying new pin backs. You can actually incorporate the safety pin in the back. So you can also just pin it on the inside of your clothes so it doesn't show. But I like the idea of it showing. I think it's pretty fun. It's just kind of cool. And then the way I finished the back is I put my my signature. And then this is 3 pieces of hand-dyed fabric. And this piece is stitched to the top piece. And then it's stitched to the top piece in 2 pieces, and then the 3rd piece is covering all of the stitches. So that's where you get the 3. Anyway, it has a nice weight to it, and I love it. And then if you were in our Facebook group, then you saw this one was started. I'm still not finished with it, still working on it, but I really love this. A dear woman sent me a whole box of fabulous bits and pieces, lace, I mean, just absolutely exquisite. And this button was in there, and it's just so gorgeous. So I just had to use it. Had a little charm that I stitched there. And this one I actually stitched I stitched the safety pin right to it, and it's not finished yet. I need to put a piece on the back, but you can kind of see where it's going. And if you use a large button or a large piece, you can cut the back you can cut through the fabric so that the button loop pokes through, and then you can stitch it to the fabric. That's one way to keep it from leaning forward. And then the other way is I used a lovely document tissue paper, this one, and I glued it right here on the top. You can see the writing coming through the button, just slightly to the button so that it stays put. It's not going to move. So I'm just loving the way it's coming out. And of course, this is an old bit of stitched tea towel, and it's just, you know, it's just so fun to play with it, I think. So today we're going to stitch a few. We're going to just have some slow stitching. I'm going to do a little bit of mixed media and just see what happens. So the things that you need to do this are, of course, lots of different threads and a few pieces of ephemera. And you don't have to have a lot. You can just have a little bit and work with that. You want some laces and some shears, and you want some fabrics that have been hand dyed. Now, if you've seen all of my my natural dye videos, then you know I have a bag full of lots of different colors of hand dyed fabrics, and that's what we're going to use, plus some little stitches. This is just a bag full of little shreds and bits and pieces. Some have already been stitched, which, you know, is really wonderful to be able to pull something out and then make a pin out of that. You know, you can just play with it and come up with a wonderful little piece of intention. And so, you know, thinking about what if it's a gift, who you're giving it to, what's the purpose of that, you know, the kind of love that you want to infuse into your work, but creating something that means something. In other words, this piece to me represents the garden and my love of the garden and how beautiful it is. And it's just this lovely floral piece. And this piece reminds me that that I want to love with all my heart, and that intention of spreading my love like jam as much as I can to people around me. And so the other thing you're going to need are jewelry bits. And gosh, I'm sure every woman that I know has jewelry bits, broken pieces, but you can also go to, you know, thrift stores and buy usually bags of it, broken bits and pieces. Then you have all kinds of little pieces of charms and little pearls and little bits of chain. So that's the little group that I gathered here: some buttons, some charms, another little milagro, and you know, this little piece here. Now, you don't need a very big piece of fabric to do this. You just need tiny little bits, and then, you know, you just put them together. Just keep playing with it until you come up with something that you like. And of course, you want to decide your intention about your safety pin too. Now, you know, there's all different kinds of safety pins. I love those old diaper pins that had the white and pink and blue and green, you know, plastic heads. Those were kind of fun. So there's lots of different things that you can do with this. So I thought it would be fun to do a sewing pin, and I've had these little working scissors for ages, and I just love them. L-O-V-E, love them. And I thought it would be really fun to do a little pin with a sewing intention on there, and that it would just kind of talk about, you know, my passion for a few little stitches. And so I thought we would stitch that today. And so what I did was, I know it looks like I work really fast, but I don't really work fast. I work slow, and so I have to think about exactly what I'm going to share with you so that our video doesn't go on and on and on. It could go on for days, really. What I did was I just folded it over, and then I folded the top. And my plan is to use little bits of chain, because I showed you this piece, and so I wanted to share with you the way I did that. Now, in this piece, I hid the chain on the inside. I stitched it to the back of the first heart, the first two hearts, and then I covered it up with more fabric. And I used a magic size on this fabric, this beet dyed, I think it was either beet or blueberry, that came out kind of a purple pink, which I think is a really pretty color. So on this one though, I thought we would just stitch the chain to the top. And so I have this, which is just 3 little links. And I thought we would use a link for each one. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just gently pulling it apart. You just need a tiny bit of room, just a smattering to get it off here. Just like that. And then we're just going to close it back up. There you go, there's one. And now we're going to do this one too. And then we'll have these all ready. There we go. And we're going to close that one up. And now you can use this little charm for something else. So you're just, you're just using up what you have. And that always feels so good to upcycle all these pieces that had no real purpose or intention until you give them a new life. So
doesn't that have to go on to the safety pin first?
Yeah, yes, dear. Goes on like this.
Ah.
And like this. Magic.
Got it.
Let's see. Okay, back to what I'm doing. All right. But you brought up a good point, though. That's great. Are you keeping this in the video?
Perhaps.
Okay, so I just want to get everything established first. So I like this piece of, I know I can't use this because it's going to be way too busy. I want the scissors to show up, and it really doesn't make much sense. I mean, it's sewing, so we're going to sew. So I simply use my fingers just to fold this back. You can iron your fabrics if you want to. I usually don't because they're so little. And then we're going to stitch that down, of course. But I wanted to figure out what exactly I would like to have on here. I know I want something underneath it, and I don't want anything too bright. Because you know how I am. I like real subtlety. Don't want that. But I like this. I really like this piece. So maybe we'll do this. So this and this. That's kind of cool. Maybe a little piece underneath there or something. So all you need is just little tiny bits, right? You just need little tiny things. That might be kind of cool stitched in here. Okay, so we've got our rings and our safety pin. And we're just going to start stitching. I'm just going to put my little stitches in here. And I'm not going to worry about them being straight because straight stitches are for machines, not people. I'm just going to stitch and just enjoy, stitching and not worry about it at all. And mistakes are opportunities for embellishment, that's what my friend Sarah says all the time. So I'm just going to base the top down, and then I'm going to do the sides. And then I'm just going to leave those stitches because we are going to cover it up with something else, but still. I have this piece all basted, stitched together actually. I shouldn't say basted because it's actually stitched. And remember, we're going to put a backing on it so you won't see any of that. And got this little thread here. Now, I was wondering how you were all doing. Don's had his vaccination, and I've got to get mine tomorrow. Just feeling just maybe a little apprehensive about it. Still gonna do it, but just slightly apprehensive, but I know it'll be fine. I hope you're all getting yours. And I think I'm going to use pink on this and do a pink and blue. I don't know why, but something. No, I'm going to stick with the brown. I like the brown. Okay. So, and I think what I'm going to do is just stitch the flower down on it, and that's going to hold it, I think. And then I'll put a little stitch at the bottom here, because you know how I love blue and brown together. I think that'll look pretty. It'll be great. Yep, love that. So it's always wonderful to try new things to see. And I'll tell you what, one of the things I absolutely cannot do is ceramics. I cannot do ceramics. I tried and I failed miserably at ceramics. And that's okay. You know, we all get to do what we're best at. So, okay, I'm really liking the way this is looking here. Okay, I think that's good, tacking that down, and we're gonna just give it a little stitch on the back to keep it from coming out. And then we're gonna put the little chains on here. I'm trying not to be such a moving target. I know it's hard for Dawn, poor Dawn, because I'm all over the place, me and my Italian hands and my crazy hair. Just very enthusiastic person, yes I am. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is just add a little stitch down here, so then it just kind of looks, you can just barely see it underneath. I really like the way it looks though, but you know, it's just one of those little details. And then we're going to stitch the scissors on, and then we'll work on the backing. But I'm really happy with the way it's coming out. I think it looks really great. So I'm just tacking the end down like I do. So, I mean, you can get really fancy with your stitches and create all kinds of beautifully embroidered pieces and, you know, whatever you want to do. I've always kept it really simple, just because I was just happy with the simplicity of it. But you can do anything you want, of course. It's your charm. It's your little pin. So, okay, one more stitch and then putting the scissors on. I've got my needle poked through the back and I'm putting my little charm down. And I think that's just going to be a little too low, so I'm going to move it back up to the top of the flower because I want it to be about there. So we're going to come through that flower. And I'm going to hold my thread in the back so I can tack it down. Sorry, I'm trying not to move too much. Poor Dawn. I know. Italian moving target. We're making art. Oops. And don't stab yourself with the needle. Okay. So I want to close it up there. Let's give it one more stitch. And right here. One, two, how about three for good measure, eh? Oops, got my charm stuck in there. Okay. There we go. All right. Now we have to put the backing on. Can I have my hands in the way? Mm-hmm. Well, I have this piece of hand-dyed fabric. I just ironed it and used a little bit of a magic size on it because we're going to use gel matte medium to glue it to the back. and I have eyeballed where I want it to go, and I'm just going to cut that. I want to make sure that I'm going to cover the back because I want it to go right about there. Yeah. And don't ask me what I dyed this with. It could be tea, it could have been something else, but I don't know. I don't remember. It might be onion. It might be onion dye, yeah. That could very well be onion. Okay, got that little piece. Now I'm just going to straighten it up just a bit because I want the lace to show through. There we go. Have my dry brush and my gel matte medium, and I'm going to dab it on the back, and I want to make sure all my stitches are laying down nice and flat if there's anything showing or any little threads hanging off. I'm just going to put a little bit here where where I stitched the chain to the cloth, because I want to keep that where it's supposed to be too. So now we could have put tissue on the front. We could have done a transfer on fabric. I mean, honestly, if you want more videos on jewelry making, let me know. It's so fun to do, and I find it so relaxing, so easy and peaceful. So, you know, just have to let me know. And then this is coming up here, which is driving me absolutely batty. So I'm going to put a little dot there to keep it down, and one here, keep that one down, and then we've got it all staying in place. Yes, there we go. Love it. My little sewing charm. We're almost at ciao for now, but I wanted to give you another thought. So I am going to make a little charm with the intention for someone that we love very much, who is very ill right now, and she's just been actually just fighting for her life, and that's my wonderful sweet auntie. And so I'm thinking I'm going to make a little charm for her, and I really love the way these colors came out. So instead of doing it like this, or like this, or like this, you could make a loop at the top. So here's this hand-dyed fabric, and I would put it at the top here, and you could stitch it or glue it together. Really, I would probably stitch it, and then now you have space for your safety pin to go in. So your safety pin would go through that loop so that they'll be open there, and then cover it with a shred of lace, which I just love this. And then I have this rosary bit. It's the end of a rosary that was taken apart, and then I would stitch it here and here on here, and then trim this off, and then see if there was anything else I wanted to put on it. But with the intention of healing and good health, and we can all use that right now, right? Well, we're at ciao for now, and we're excited because we're taking an extra week off, and we hope you are too, because it's spring break. So we're very excited, and we want to wish you a happy, healthy, wonderful holiday season, whatever you celebrate. We send you our love, and we want you to be well and be happy, and we'll see you next time. Ciao for now.